I love philosophy. A lot. I really love it. Science was my number one for the past 3 years of my life. But philosophy is just blowing it out of the water. I love thinking. I love different methods of thinking. It's just I hope to have a a PhD in philosophy someday. Even if, I probably couldn't do anything with it. Which I can, because if you have a PhD, you can pretty much do anything. At least something. But I don't care. People say like, well, what are you going to do with a PhD in philosophy? Don't give a fuck. Could be broke on the street, and I would still have that PhD right behind me. So, I don't care. Don't care about money. Don't care about having a decent job. I just want the PhD, and I want to be able to think in interesting ways. Or at least ways that I find interesting, because, it's all relative. Which is kind of like our little joking catchphrase in my philosophy class. It's like, because at one point we were talking about relativism, and it was like, it's all relative. And it's this whole thing with like how society is sort of stuck in this postmodernist era of thinking. It's like, what is happiness? What is... And I've heard me ask quite those questions a lot. What is happiness? What is sadness? Blah, 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 blah. But, so, recently, I tried, well, when the second semester started, I got picked up philosophy and psychology, and I wanted to keep a journal. Now, I didn't particularly want to keep a journal, but because of a different reason, I'll probably go into tomorrow. But a week went by, I didn't write anything. Another week went by, I didn't write anything. So after a while, this morning in fact, I decided that I had this really nice thought in my head, and I want to write it down. And once I finally wrote it down, I got it out of the way. It was just there on the paper, and now I'm looking at it, and it's like, I'm just looking at it, it's like, did I really think all this? And so here's the thing. I'm going to be calling this a daily thought. I'm going to write down one thought every day, and only one. And I'm going to write down one thought every day. Then after I run out of pages, I believe this thing has 135 pages in it, or it might be half that because I'm using the backs to write down what spurred on the thought. But I encourage you to do this too. It doesn't have to be anything serious. It can be whatever your teenage angst type things usually are, or whatever. But I'm gonna keep this in, and when I run out of pages, I'm going to look back at every single thought I wrote, and I'm going to ask myself, do I still think that, and why did I think, and if I don't, why do I think that, and even if I do still think that, why am I thinking that now? So, here's the thing. So, I'm going to be putting the date. I'm going to be putting, I'm going to be, you can do one page, or if you're going to do this with me, you can do one full page, or you can just write actually, scratch that. Write your thoughts out completely. And then on the back of the page, like if you left enough room for the back, write what brought this thought on, and write what brought this thought on. So, here is my thought for today. Alright, February 25th, 2013. Did you ever see a dog walking down the street and ponder if its life was lived morally? No. You don't bother because you know already that the dog has no understanding of morality. My point is, why should I bother trying to understand morality when humans themselves don't understand morality itself? It's been X thousands of years since morality was invented, and they still have no idea how it works. Not saying that I do either. And what brought this thought on was like early morning thoughts are just rapidly firing through my head. And as I say, I'm loving philosophy. And what we're learning about philosophy so far, or at least philosophy as I understand it to be, because I was like, it's trying to understand the truth, like the moral truths of this world, or in the truth of this world. I was kind of like, but I don't care about morals. I don't. I mean, it's like, it kind of feels like being morally right or morally wrong, it never really appears to me. I mean, appeals to me. It's like, one thing could happen, another thing can happen, and I could care. I could care. Someone could get murdered in the streets, or someone could, I don't know, donate sandwiches to the homeless, and I could not care either way less. And I know that makes me seem like a horrible person, but I don't know. I always put things on this scale. I'm just like, well, bad thing happened, good thing happened. And so, I believe Ted Bundy said, a serial killer, by the way. Yeah, one of my hobbies is looking up quotes for serial killers. It's kind of creepy. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a creepy hobby. But some serial killers actually give very interesting insight on a philosophy. Not so much ways to live your life, but what life is really about. Like, some of the quotes are just like retarded shit is like, oh, I'm super evil, that kind of thing. Some of the quotes are like, some of the quotes like, I am God. Some of the quotes are actually pretty fucking hilarious. Like, I like to see, but in a lot of the cases, in some cases, serial killers do offer me new, interesting ways of thinking and why that is. And I believe back to Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy said, there is no happiness without tears, no life without death. And that's the only real relevant part of this, but the last part of this, beware, I'm going to make you cry. I believe that was along what he said. And that last part isn't really relevant to this. But what I always do is I say, so good things happening in the world, but are there an equal number of bad things going on? And it's like, and you know what I kind of see, is I kind of agree with him on that, is like, good things are just, yeah, they're good, but we can't really have the good without the bad, so I don't see a reason to stress out over the bad. And feel free to disagree with that, but that's okay. And we were just learning about a philosopher today, really long name, starts with an X, I can't remember it, but he said, we learn about the world through its opposite. So you can't understand. So if you put your hand on a hot stove, ow, hot. Okay, but you can't understand that's hot unless you have the cold, or else it's just normal. And it's like, and that leads into another. That kind of another quote, like relating back to the good and bad thing. Heaven is a place where nothing happens. I mean, think about that. There's always everything good and good, and people forget. Like, if you're gonna be there in eternity, you're gonna forget pretty much all the bad things in life, and you're just gonna be sitting there, just like, you're just gonna, like, if heaven exists, which I say I don't believe in anything spiritual or metaphysical, but is metaphysical the right term for that? Probably not, But essentially, you're just going to be sitting there, you're going to be happy all day, blah, 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 but it's just going to be, and after a while, it's just going to be there. I mean, there's only so many things happen in the world. You're going to wake up in the morning, go pray to God, or something like that, go home, be with family, and do it over and 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 over. Infinitely. And as we see in life, boredom is a very powerful thing. I mean, it's like, make you go fracking insane. Because I know some people have a crazy fear of like just this vast nothingness of like if you woke up this morning and everything in the world was white, there's nothing there. Some people say like they would kill themselves, and but at the same time, some of these people want to go to heaven. I'm like, but after a while, isn't that just the same thing? I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, if you're afraid of this nothing, what are you gonna do? Take like a yearly vacation to hell for an hour? But as they say, that is that. And so this ends my thought for the day. I encourage you to join in on this, even though I have like no viewer base. But yeah. So and I think that's all. That's all I really need to say. So it's kind of interesting how these lighting effects work, don't they? I wonder if I could use this fan for. Okay, I'm rambling now, but so long, my good friends. So long.